struggle to find job-ready talent. So the bottom line is hiring is now becoming a data problem and not a recruiting problem. So and now we have and I'll talk about how we have the tools that could help us get there. Okay, so why do resumes no longer work? So that's something I just talked about earlier. Resumes are basically a historical document that tells you where you worked, right? If you have a degree or if you have a credential, let's talk about credential. Years of experience and a title. That's it. That's all they tell you. Resumes don't answer, can you perform? Can a person perform in this particular role? Can this person learn? Can this person solve a problem? Can this person achieve my goals and objectives that I have, or projects that I want them to do? Can this person adapt? Can this person succeed? It doesn't tell you any of that stuff. So hiring should predict future performance, and resumes clearly don't do that. Okay. Let's go. Okay. So I'd like to introduce a terminology called skills ontology. So what's really changed is AI-enabled organizations have, AI has enabled organizations to create complex platforms with, and so with the introduction of AI and a skills ontology, it has allowed organizations and companies to create tools that are very, very complex, that were done, certain things that were done manually and were very complex. And now they could do that with relatively ease, and also with a high level of accuracy, you can spot talent. So, traditional application tracking systems were able to enable people to do search keywords or rank resumes and filter candidates. Now, the modern, very few people have built it, but you can build it now. But some of my portfolio companies have in the most recent months have launched it, is building a skills-based application tracking system where they could define skills, understand skills, measure their skills and capabilities, and able to predict their readiness for the job and the project and the goals that they're going to work on. And then also, if they don't have the skills, and if they have 80% of the skills and they don't have the rest of the 20, you could really now create recommended learning paths just to learn those specific skills. And then that person could be job ready, and you could clearly predict the performance and the success factor of that person within that role. So the ability to merge skills ontology, and I'll talk a little about what skills ontology is, plus AI, now allows hiring to become a very personalized and a skills and personalized and be skills driven. And I believe that will be a very, very disruptive to the hiring industry. Let's move to the next. Okay. So what is skills-based hiring? And I talked about earlier, a traditional way of hiring was creating a job description, posting it online, and then just doing interview, and mainly it was all around gut and making sure people are telling the truth that's on their resume. That was pretty much it, right? Now, moving forward with what the technology is really allows us to do is really defining what skills are needed first. So if I have a job role that's open, I'm going to define, here's a 3 to 4 to 5 skills I need, and I'm going to probably I'll do a weightage of the skills. So I would need skill number 1, I need 50% weightage. Skill number 2, I may need 20% weightage, and all the way down to skills number 5 or 4, I would need 10 or 15% weightage. So that tells you the skills that is really, really important. And it also sends a signal to the panel of interviewers to say, this is skills that's more important. So it's something that you have to agree on. What are the critical skills? Then the second step is really the validation of the skills. So unfortunately, we live in a world, and I've experienced it myself, where people in remote interviews, people cheat. So creating these proctored settings, or real scenario based, or in simulations, in a proctor setting, you could test their skills. And that's what's happening, and that's what will continue to happen. And then also behaviors. That's also very important. That what are the behaviors and values? Is that person a culture fit? What is the behavior the candidate values the most, and what are the behaviors and values as an employer we value the most? And performance is outcomes, right? So you could put various KPIs and match if this person has the right skills to deliver those outcomes. Then this hiring decision is made completely by data. So in fact, if someone doesn't even, as I mentioned earlier, if someone has the right behaviors, they could perform, and if they don't have all the skills that they need, you can really push a learning path to them in a simulation, and test them, and create these roles-based simulations and test their skills. And if they take the learning path immediately, they consume the content, they take the test, and then they provide that, that is a signal that a hiring manager is going to look for, that I pushed a learning path to them, and this person took the training immediately, passed the skill, got the good skills. Now this person has all the skills I need, and now my predictability of this person being successful in this role is going to be very, very high. So it's not really what degrees you have. It doesn't matter how many years of experience you have. That's eventually going to become highly irrelevant in the future, and it already is irrelevant in a lot of other areas, in some countries. So I'd like to introduce you to a term called skills ontology, and why this is becoming very how it's becoming possible for us to be able to do something that complex. So I've been doing skills-based interviewing for the past 4 to 5 years, but I do it through an Excel sheet. I work with 3 or 4 hiring managers that are going to be part of the interviewing process. We agree on the skills, we agree on the weightage, and then we rank them. That's basically it. And then what we do is we do it when we do a face-to-face interview. It's all around gut feeling and chemistry with the hiring manager. So it is a little complex. It's fairly old school, but now this could, with AI and skills ontology, and this could really automate a lot of the process and increase accuracy. So skills, so think of skills ontology as a Google map for skills, right? Imagine someone asked you to drive, let's say, from Islamabad to Karachi, right? So a paper map would show you roads, right? Remember that old map? Now Google Map does much more. It knows every road, it understands how the road connects, it identifies the fastest route, it detects the road, detects you the road closures, where the traffic is. It suggests an alternative route. And skills ontology does the same thing, right? It does the same thing, but for careers and skills. That's the difference. Okay. Okay. So when I said data, the future of hiring is going to be all data driven, because most of the hiring managers really don't know how to hire. They go by gut. Um, People are not trained how to hire. People are they're not professionals, and it's just a hit or miss. And I think this is what's going to turn into a Moneyball of hiring. I don't know how many people have seen a movie called Moneyball, uh, and Moneyball. It's like when it revolutionized baseball, right? So when people used to select athletes in baseball, and that's what that movie's all about. They used to go by gut, they used to go by glamour, they used to go by the looks, they used to go by the looks and the popularity of a baseball player. and they weren't able to. They used to also look at their data and their metrics, but it was not as accurate, right? And this is what skills. Then someone developed a formula and an algorithm in that movie in what is the best way to hire uh, these baseball players, and that revolutionized everything. And that's what that money is all about. So that's what I think that's going to happen in the hiring industry. It's going to become a money ball of hiring. Skills intelligence will revolutionize hiring. That's and that's it's most of your hiring in the future is going to be done skills based, and then having workforce intelligence, and the human in the loop is only going to be only figuring out chemistry and gut feel, which is also very, very important. Okay, so what are the benefits for employers with respect to skills-based hiring? So first and foremost, accuracy is very important. So if you look at a lot of LLMs, when they're training their models, they've already trained them once. They're trying to train them. They've already trained them. Some of them are training them the second time. They will train them the third time. They're investing millions and millions of dollars because of accuracy, right? Just to make sure whenever you do a search, it gives you accurate information. And that's exactly what skills ontology is going to be able to do. And it's a very crucial point. By prioritizing accurate matches from the very beginning, you set a standard, right? The other basically you set a standard of alignment and suitability of the candidate. The other thing is performance. A high level of hiring accuracy naturally results in employees who are better equipped for their roles, leading to a marked increase in performance. The other thing that it really hiring managers are looking for is turnover and stability. So if you have the wrong hire, which happens most of the time, it's very, very expensive. So strong performers who are well suited to their positions are less likely to leave, which will effectively stabilize the team and significantly lowers turnover. The other thing is internal growth. A reduced external turnover rate creates a robust. If you reduce the turnover rate, it creates a robust internal talent pool, paving the way for sustainability and internal career mobility. Reducing hiring costs. I think this is a big one. So staffing companies are going to get really, really disrupted if they don't adopt this practice. Paying staffing agency 20-25% of people's first year salaries is it's very costly. And this tool and if this technology and this methodology, if adopted, could reduce, not only increase high accuracy, but also reduce costs significantly. And then also it could increase speed. There, and there's these days, I mean, we've also, one of our portfolio companies also built a tool where you could put in the skills, you can put in the goals and outcomes and performance that they would be responsible for, and the behaviors you would want, and then the tasks they would work on, and then it goes into the talent database and pulls in all the candidates that match those, right? Much faster process. And then it also sends out a contextual email, personalized email to all these non-active and non-active candidates to recruit them. I mean, just really, at the pace that things are moving, is just incredible. So, as a recap, hiring accuracy is very important, reducing cost, and fast hiring. Then, not to mention reducing turnover, including increasing performance, and so on and so forth. So what is the benefits to the candidates? What's going to happen is, I think employers are going to shy away from saying, "Hey, what degrees do you have?" They may even shy away from, over a period of time, certifications, like, let's say, CompTIA certifications, or industry like OSHA certifications, or various like AWS certifications, and so on and so forth, or ISO certifications. So these certifications that people took were a proxy that this person has those skills that could do the job. Hopefully that will slowly go away. But number of years of experience and how much years of experience do you have versus what degrees do you have, that is definitely slowly going to fade. Hiring managers are going to be asking about, what skills do you have that could demonstrate blah, blah, blah? What capabilities that you have that could do this? And it's going to be done, you're going to have to prove it through simulations and assessments in proctored setting. And that's doable now. So skills will really democratize the opportunity, and that's a great benefit. In states, people are already questioning, why do I have to go to school for 4 years? Why not 2 years? Why do I have to learn things that I already know? I already know this. Why do I need to do this? So, and even universities are adopting a skills-based degree program, where assessing the student first and then personalizing the degree program. And so it could be 2 years or 3 years. So now their cost of tuition goes down, and they don't have to learn things that they already know. There's a significant amount of students that come out of high school that take advanced placement classes and college level classes. Now, if they're forced to take the same subjects and skills and topics in a 4-year degree program, that does waste people's time. So people are really challenging, even the students are challenging the ROI, and employers are very accepting of not having degrees, and they're very they are rewarding people that have the right skills that could do the job. And it's, the discussions are now going towards hyper specialized skills. So you don't need to know everything. You don't need to know art history. You don't need to know English. But if you are really good at one little thing and you're a master at it, and if you hyper specialized, employers are rewarding that. Okay, so what employers should do today, which they need to make a strategic shift by defining job skills. So almost every employer, large or small, for every role, they should define this before they start the hiring process. They should define, what are the skills that matter the most, and it can be 10 skills. It could be just 1, 2, or 3 skills. By the way, if you go in LinkedIn, and LinkedIn has all these skills listed, they have these listed, but they don't have a skills ontology. So that's going to be a big issue even for LinkedIn, because they do keyword matching, and keyword matching is not the right way to match the person. It's really verifying the skills and validating the skills in some sort of a proctored setting. I mean, we are already in a world where agents are building cover letters and agents are building resumes. So the trust of employers in resumes and cover letters is gone, because they're like, okay, this is so. I don't even ask people for resumes anymore, by the way. I just ask people for LinkedIn profiles. And agents are already doing um, the verification of the candidate. So now we're in a world where agents are filing for jobs and agents are really validating people. So we need something more sophisticated, where we define skills, we measure skills, we validate skills, and then we hire people for capability of skills that they could do that project or achieve their goals. And then also, if you like the candidate and they don't have all the skills that they need, you can always push them a learning path, a very personalized, pointed learning path to say, here's 3 skills I want you to learn. And when you learn them and you pass them, I'll consider you. And that could be applicable for both internal hiring as well as external hiring. All right, so why does IEC exist? So and that's one of the things that really attracted me to be part of IEC. Is it's this making this paradigm shift at the is working with these college kids or mid-career people or even advanced career people. That's what they're going to be doing now, is assessing people's skills, providing them skills-based learning, so they learn exactly what they need to learn against an aspiring role. So you may be in one role and then you have an aspiring role where you want to go. It does a skills gaps analysis, creates a very personalized learning path, and then it helps you apply for jobs. And then they're also providing the same solution to the employers, a skills-based application tracking system, and then helping employers hire the right talent that they need. So they're making impact, but it's like an ecosystem that they're building and launching, where it impacts the students, career switchers, employers, government, and universities, because they part universities these days. I mean, not all the universities. They have the curriculum is very old, and they're usually behind times in terms of what are the emerging roles that the employers value the most, and that's where IEC comes in as a middle layer in helping these students with skills-based education, and then helping them to prepare for these jobs that employers want most, that are in demand. So, as a recap, the future workforce is really going to be around workforce intelligence, right? Degrees won't disappear, right? Resumes won't disappear. Interviews won't disappear. But skills will become the primary currency of work. And skills will become interoperable. And what I mean by interoperable is when people say that these are the skills, they will point towards some sort of national standard that says, or credentials that'll say that if these people have these skills, that is now a currency. Just like how degrees are like a currency for people to be able to do certain jobs, skills are going to replace that. But that doesn't mean degrees will go away, but when you learn, degrees teach you certain skills, but we're going to filter out to figure out what skills you have learned and what skills you do have, so that, and what jobs are requiring, what skills the jobs are requiring, and do you match it or not? So companies that continue hiring based primarily on resumes will increasingly lose to organizations that hire based on demonstrated skills and potential. And really the future belongs to employers who can identify capabilities, not just credentials and experience. So on that note, I thank you, everyone, and I'd be happy to take any questions. I think we went over maybe 7 minutes.
Anybody have any sort of questions? Kindly raise hand, or you guys can mention that in the chat box as well.
Moin has raised his hand. Please, Moin, go ahead.
Yeah, let me just unmute him, and then yes, Moin, you can ask your question now.
Thank you, Miriam. Thank you, everyone. Hi, Resettler. I hope I'm pronouncing name right. Yeah. Okay.
That's fine. Just go ahead. Let's go with the question.
Perfect. Okay, this is Moin, and I'm working in UX UI industry from last 5 years. So my question is about, like, we all know that on an average, different people coming from the different backgrounds, having like a mixture of strength, I would say. Like, it depends on their upbringing, education, their social expectations. So can someone okay, thank you. If admissions and hiring becomes increasingly skill based, so w- like it will increase that difference between those people. So what do you think? Like, am I thinking right? Will it affect that um those people who are right now definitely not, maybe it we can think gender wise, like there are some specific skills in which women are.
I think I can't hear Moeen.
Yeah, we can't hear him. So
Yeah.
I think his question is that if we focus more on, or the employers focus more on skills-based hiring, so will it create a divide among women and men in the workforce, or would that widen it, or would that abridge the gap?
No, why would it? I mean, why would it widen it? I mean, skills are skills, right? So whether it's skill is not uh, gender specific, whether it's a female or a male, whatever skills they have. That's also interesting, right? So I think, I don't know what I don't know what. Okay, so let me just touch on another thing. These days, when an employer hires people, when they look at the name and they look at the gender, sometimes they could even look at the race, and it create biases. It immediately creates biases. Well, if we can get employers to focus on data and skills-based hiring, which is all based by data. Do they have the right behavior match? Do they have the right skills match? Right? Can they do the goals? Can they do the goals? Because we also create KPIs and goals that they're going to be responsible for. And if it creates that and we assess them, that data-backed hiring could, that's how that first line of, that's how you're really filtering a lot of your candidates. And then AI could also do avatar-based, video-based interviewing through videos, and it could also be, it's also skills-based. That could really eliminate all your biases. So now you're getting the right candidate, whether it doesn't matter if there's female or male. It's all skills-based. Actually, it helps. It helps get rid of all the biases. Okay, the other question is, okay, what are the other questions you want to, let me see.
I would like to ask, I would like to add on a question to the answer you just said, that we cannot, just do the gender bias thing, right? What is your take on the age? If the person has done a college and has a good skills, would that person get hired or not?
Is that a question for me, Mariam, or you just basically you're adding to that?
No, no, it's a question from my side that today, nowadays, here we have a requirement that a person should have a degree sometimes in the job description. So, does that matter? Does the age matter?
I don't. I think that's what I'm saying. It's depends on the country, and depends on the culture of the country. Like I know Google hires people in US, Deloitte, Accenture, Google, they've already waived that you don't have to have a degree to get hired. And that happened 2, 3 years ago, 3 to 4 years ago. So eventually that's going to happen everywhere.
All
Slowly
right.
but surely. Yeah, and it all depends on, look, it all depends on the hiring manager. It all depends on the culture of the company. I mean, I know people at Google, the hiring manager, VP, he only cares about their GPA. Do they have a 4.0 or 3.9, for example, and do they graduate from a top university? So if it's old school, but I'm just saying for the masses, there's a shift already happening.
Thank you so much for answering. Yes, Abdullah, you have raised your hand. You can ask your question.
Hold on, I think there's another question by Faizan Rasul. Hi. Do you think AI has significantly reduced opportunities for software engineers, or is it current hiring slowdown just a temporary market trend? Front-end full stack developer. Yeah, unfortunately, Faizan, this is the era of people have to reskill themselves. And now, software engineers have enjoyed for the past 20 to 30 years a great ride, and code is free. Code is really, really cheap these days. But so you don't need as many coders. You have to reskill yourself. Yeah, it's very, very softened. But if you're a front-end developer, if you have UX design, and if you are adopting agentic development tools, then that's an increasing demand, by the way. In fact, one of our portfolio companies is hiring someone. So you understand a little bit of code, you understand UX design, and then if you could use agentic tools like Cursor and Claude and all that stuff, then there's there's a demand for those types of, and you can build agents. There's a demand for that type of skill. Okay, is there another question?
Yeah, we do have a question from Bilal. He says that how do you ensure technical assessments reflect real world jobs requirements rather than just testing the ability?
Can you be a little slow? I'm a little slow. Oh, Bilal, okay. How do you ensure technical assessments reflect real world requirements rather than just how do you ensure technical assessments reflect real world job requirements? I don't know if I didn't understand that question. Look, but if I'll try to answer it the best I understand it. Whenever you have a job requirement, that job requirement it cannot be a job description anymore. Job description just tells you what are you going to be doing. It needs to say, what are the skills that I need for someone to be able to do that job? A verified skill and a validation skill. So when you do these skills need to be validated, and they need to be done in a proctored setting in a non-cheating environment, right? And that is going to become, and that's already happening. That's been happening for 2 to 3 years. A lot of CTOs and tech companies or tech staffing companies have been doing that, but they never had access to a skills ontology. So they never had. Now they will. There's some people are using AI to match their skills, but and do their skills assessment, but even AI is not accurate. you need a ontology layer that's very, very specific. And that is going that and being able to test their ability and capability, that is going to be the future. Hiring is going to be all based on capability and not experience and not what they say on their resume. All right, what's next?
Yeah, we have a question from Abdullah. He says that how has AI affected digital marketing? I'm asking, and I'm currently pursuing this field. I have been looking into LinkedIn personal branding and as well prompt engineering as well to stand out this day in the age. I've been told to focus on one skill, but what skill is the best to focus on this era? I am creative writer as well, along with the storyteller by heart.
Okay, so all right, so this is you're asking a very specific question, which I happen to know about. Look, these days you could use. I'll make it very simple. If any of you guys are in any one of the roles, any roles, if you cannot manage an agent, you'll be obsolete. You need to be able to manage 2 or 3 agents, and the workforce is transitioning into an orchestration of managing people and managing agents. So if you're a digital marketer, you should be able to manage a blog agent. So it helps you write blogs and post blogs through a programmatic agent where you just put in various blog clusters, content, and it'll write and it'll post. And that's one of the agents, right? And then you need to be able to, if you're a digital marketer and if you're helping with outbound campaigns, and you need to be able to write signals-based messaging through an agent. So I'm just giving you some examples. If you're a UX designer, you could develop a lot of the UX design just through agents. So now the person should be able to do multiple roles through agent. And these days, people are saying you could do all you need is one marketing person that could do everything. You do paid search, you could do content writing, you could do outbound campaigns, you could do so any role. It doesn't matter if it's digital marketing, UX design, if you are in business development, if you're in operations, if you're in finance, if you're in HR, you have to be able to manage agents. Any other questions? All good? All right. If there's no any questions, I think we'll just.
Hi,
Yeah.
Adnan. I think Mariam lost the connection. So
Okay.
yeah, she's back. She's back.
Okay.
Yeah, Mariam, if nobody has any questions, let's wrap it up.
Do we have any other questions? Session with something we can just highlight on the LinkedIn. That what are the main things that you would appreciate if you could go with that?
Can someone repeat? Miriam, I couldn't hear her. Bilal, do you know what she said?
Yeah, so if nobody has any further questions, we can wrap up the call. Thank you everyone for joining in. And we would appreciate if you post on LinkedIn about the key takeaways from the session. Maybe if you want to tag IEC or you want to tag Adnan for that matter. So Adnan would be great. If, we will share the LinkedIn profile of Adnan in the call, in the chat box. So feel free to tag and feel free to share your thoughts and insights about the session. We would love to hear from you. So thank you,
Am I
everyone.
audible?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
everyone, for joining. And
Thank
we will come back soon with another session with another speaker. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
you.
Thank you, Adnan, for your time. Really appreciate the help.